Hello. Good
Yes,
morning.
sir.
I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very nice.
So good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So let the people join, then we'll start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In few minutes, just previous session we have ended.
Yeah.
So in 5 minutes, there will be all the participants will join.
Okay. So in the meantime, the difficulty which I raised on for the Friday.
Yes, sir.
Can we shift to instead of 1 to 2, 12 to 1?
Yes, 12 to 1. 12 to 1 is possible.
Because 1 to 2 is basically is a lunch time. Normally it's a lunch time.
Okay.
So instead of that, can we?
So we can have that 3 session first, and then we can have that another.
Yeah. Then people we can have lunch. I'm happy if it can be 11 because there is two consecutive lecture by I think so somebody from outside, na?
Yeah.
So
then we can have that at 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. So that will be nice for me.
Yes. I will make that announcement in the WhatsApp group.
That
all the participants will get it.
Friday lecture will be instead of 12 to 1.
People are waiting for, because on two days they are asking questions regarding the steel structure.
Okay.
So that there will be now interesting participants are there. They are
Okay.
asking regarding that steel structure design and all that.
Okay. So now people from participants from Maharashtra or from somewhere from.
No, sir. They are all over throughout India. From south also they are there. From Gujarat, Rajasthan.
Okay.
Actually, 450 participants were registered,
Uh-huh.
and we have asked to all them to join the session. But in this live session, maximum 80 to 90 participants are there.
Okay.
And then some of them are there in WhatsApp group, and then we are sharing them the YouTube video links.
Okay. Fine.
So almost 200 participants will take the advantage of this.
Right. So, badhiya. This is good. That is, I think so. You have taken a good initiative from your end. And
Yes, sir.
And
In previous STTP also 650 participants were registered.
okay.
And there we have also got the permission from the AICT to give the certificate to the 100 participants.
Okay.
So in there, 250 participants were successfully completed that STTP.
Right.
Means they have solved the daily quiz. In the feedback form, we are asking 2 questions on each session
Okay.
in the feedback form at the end of the day.
Okay.
And then at the last, we have also placed one objective time-bound test.
Right.
And then we have issued the certificate and all this.
Okay. Good. नहीं ठीक है बढ़िया है. I think so. Let us continue this activity for a long
Yes, sir.
time. You can plan something other than this. You can plan some common platform where you can cover all disasters.
Okay, yes, sir. So we are interested if you guide us, and then you can give some guideline. Then I will make it plan.
Okay. Then I will give you program, because in which
Yes, sir.
we'll cover wind, earthquake, and basic level will cover, so that
Yes.
level will not go for a higher level.
Yes, sir.
For a basic level only.
It is more advantage for basic level there, because people are needing that also. Ugle sir is here. Ugle sir.
How I can reduce your my volume?
Your volume is okay. Now it is very clear.
It is very clear. Okay.
Yes, please keep it that as it is.
Okay.
I am waiting my co-coordinator to join.
Let them take time. No issue.
Yeah.
Because I am at home, and
no problem there.
Continuously from 1.5 months I am teaching from home only.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Then
there is no issue. Huh? So Friday I'll keep 12. Huh? Friday.
Yes, sir. Yes.
नहीं तो मैं कर दिया था, कम किया, लेकिन कम कैसे करेंगे इसको आ ही नहीं रहा। हाँ ये बहुत ज्यादा है इसको, बस
चेक करो।
नहीं अब ठीक है, आ जाएगा अभी। अब मैं कर लूंगा, थोड़ा सा ऊपर कर लेता हूँ, 22-23 पे ठीक है।
उगले सर।
हाँ बिल्कुल सही है, अब कम कर दो। बस
सर बोला
कैमरा
You can share your presentation and then we will start.
सर यस
अभी कैमरा ऑन किया। ठीक है ना, आ गया।
So dear participants, welcome to this next session for this STDP second session of the third day. And today we have with us Dr. L.M. Gupta sir, and he is guiding us. In last 2 days, some participants are asking about steel structure. Today, Dr. L.M. Gupta sir is with us, and he will be guiding us on the this earthquake resistant design for steel structure. So I invite my co-coordinator, Professor Ashish Ugle sir, to introduce the today's speaker, and then we will start the today's session. Ugle sir, over to you.
Yes, welcome all. We are having renowned personality, Dr. L.M. Gupta sir. I heartily welcome him on behalf of VYWS Professor Ram Meghe College of Engineering and Management, Bandra, in STDP on Architecture Decision Design. Dr. L.M. Gupta sir is working as a professor in Department of Applied Mechanics in Vishweshwaraya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur. Regarding his publication details, he published number of publications in international journals, national journals, conferences, international and national. Regarding the guidance, guide number of PhD candidates, MPhil candidates, and MTech candidates for their post-graduation and doctorate also. For MTech, he guided over 100 of the students. For PhD, he guided 14 number of students and 3 are under progress. Some of the R&D projects and MDROP projects work for number of R&D projects in which use of fly ash and building material research projects funded by MHRD Government of India, New Delhi. He also work on the modernization of the structural laboratory scheme, that is MODROP, was sanctioned by MHRD Government of India, New Delhi. Preparation of the draft code of practice stress steel bridges for Indian Road Congress is a major contribution of him. Some of the membership details: he is a life member of Institution of Engineers, life member of Indian Concrete Institute, life member of Association of Civil Consulting Engineers, that is ACCE, life member of Indian Water Work Association, that is EWWA, and life member of Indian Society for Wind Engineering, life member of Indian Association for Structural Engineer. Some of the seminars, workshops, and symposium and conferences. He is convener for the second National Conference on Wind Engineering, that is NCWE, in the year of 2004, which is organized from 12th to 14th February. He also organized a number of STTPs. Association with the other bodies, contributed over the number of bodies such as examiner for PhD and MTech projects for Amravati University, Nagpur University, Pune University, Shivaji University, IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, and MANIT Bhopal. He also corresponding with it as a member of Steel Bridge Committee, that is B7 of Indian Road Congress from 1995 to 1998. Work in association with West Zone Coordinator and expert member for the Best Innovative Structural Steel Design Projects for the student of Civil Engineering of Institute of Steel Development and Growth, Kolkata from 2004 to 2007 and 2009 onwards. He is the expert member in Board of Studies of Applied Mechanics of SVNIT, Surat. He also working as an expert member of NBA accreditation program in various polytechnics as well as engineering colleges. Some of the consultancy projects under his guidance are design of logistic and other building for Air Force Center, that is OJAR, for the Air Force Nagpur. He also work on the design of admin building and translation interpretation for the Hindi University at Varda. Scrutiny of design and drawing of 330-meter long bridge of Kanan Water Works for MGP Nagpur. Some of the honors and awards. He is honored by a Best Teacher Award by Principal of VRC, now known as VNIT Nagpur, in the year of 1995 for meritorious services to the institute. He also appreciated by the PWD, that is Government of Maharashtra, Chief Engineer Amravati, for retrofitting and widening of bridges on Pille and Pune on MS6 at Achalpur. So I welcome Dr. L.M. Gupta sir to enlightening over the topic. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me share the screen now.
Yes, sir.
Why it is not coming?
Yes, sir. Now presentation is visible.
Yeah.
Yes, please start, sir.
Yeah. एक मिनट इसको मैं विंडो मारता हूँ. So good morning, friend. Detailed is introduction is given by Professor. I don't need that much of introduction, but as a formality, yes, they did. So thank you very much for giving the detailed introduction of myself. Now I am the teacher who is involved in teaching the steel structures from last 32 years, and teaching 3 courses on steel design, that is basic steel design, then advanced steel design and industrial building, and along with the EID of steel structures for the MTech program. So 3 courses for MTech program, 1 courses for the BTech program, and guiding toward the PhDs only in the area of steel structures, and also the MTech program also in steel structures. So with this all background and with this knowledge which I have gained during this last so many years of interaction with the students and the scholars, I am presenting in brief the earthquake resistant design of steel structure part 1, in which initially I'll introduce the steel subject. If you are able to understand the behavior of the steel and steel subject, then application in EID becomes easy. Normally what happens, people are directly going for application. They are not going for the introduction or understanding the behavior of the basic subject. So likewise this, at many places you will find that people are teachers also, my colleague teachers also, they are teaching the RCC design, and then they are giving the directly input for the EID. So my humble request to all that, let us first teach all students the basic engineering design under the gravity load. If RCC design, steel design under gravity load, if they understand, then application for lateral load they can do very easily. Okay, and along with there are some prerequisite subjects needed for every special subject. For every special subject, so you should have the knowledge of the prerequisite subjects, because we doesn't know the prerequisite subjects, we doesn't know theory of the prerequisite subjects, and directly go on application. So then we face a lot of difficulty in doing the thing. So what I am doing today, I am showing you the roadmap, how to reach to our target. By I'm telling you the part by part, the all properties of the steel along with their behavior, along with their analysis process, so that when you apply directly on structures, you know that this is the way you can do the analysis. Okay, so in the brief, first now, how this steel is been manufactured. So this is a flow diagram of the steel making process. And after the in hot rolled process, that is from iron ore converted into a basic material, then basic material will be again placed another machines with all process, and then we get these slabs, plates, and heavy sections and pig irons as a product of basic steel. This product is been then converted into the our basic structure steel sections in the rolling mill. So this is not the layout of a rolling mill. This is layout of the steel plant, where the steel structures are the steel material is the basic steel material is generated from the iron ore. Okay. Now, why steel is considered as a perfect material? It has some native property. It's very good strength, very good ductility, capable of standing substantial elastic deformation without losing strength. Okay. The very good strength means it has a very good strength. What strength we are talking? We are talking about its tensile strength, and a good product of structure steel have a good ductility. So it is therefore, if it is good ductility, then it can be capable of standing this substantial elastic deformation without losing this strength. That is the related to each other. If ductility is good, the third property will be definitely good. So good performance. It is seen that there are good performance during many earthquake, and a well designed. It is said by a renowned structural engineer that the steel structures doesn't need cosmetic. It gives good aesthetic if it has been properly designed. Means if the force required is F 100 ton, then if you design for 110 ton, then it looks to be beautiful. If you force require 100 ton, if you design structures that it is capable of taking 200 ton, then it will not look good. So well designed structures doesn't need any cosmetics, give good aesthetic. Now, types of steel. Here I am cautioning you all. In early days, there are many codes related to structure steel. I'll tell you IS 226, 2062, 1977, 8500. All this code 226, 1900, 1977, 8500 is being merged to a single code IS 2062. Of course, merging is done in phased manner. So, not in a one stroke. Initially 226 and 2062 merge, then thereafter 1977 and 8500 they have been merged. So now there is a single code which covers all types of steel. So 2062 covers all types of steel. That is carbon. Many are the main strengthening element in this, that is structure steel. Then also in high strength structure steel 2062 covers. Then there is a one weathering steel, and there is also a stainless steel. Okay. Then there is one other that is fire resistant steel, also called as thermomechanically treated steel. So the structure steel which is in our question is conforming to 2062. These are all three special steels may be needed at special places. Now these are the basic property to be considered. It is as per these basic properties as per the IS 800 2007, that its density unit mass is 7850, model of CC 2.0 10 to the power 5, partial 0.3, model of GT 0.769 10 to the power 5, and coefficient of thermal sponge alpha 12 into 10 to the power minus 6. People, they take their own. Let us say if E you take as 2.05, then your deflection will change. Right? So therefore the E play this is they have made a standardized that the property should be taken uniformly for all design and analysis purpose. These are the various forms and shapes of the structure steel. That is I section, L section, channel section, T section, hollow tubes, and flats. These are all basic sections. Now you can see that this aspect ratio, this means flange versus wave dimensions, are being optimized based on certain studies. They are being optimized based on certain studies. The study is number one, that this overhang cannot be anything. Because if you just see this is support, these are two overhangs. So this should be capable of taking the load. So that's why the overhang. Then thickness at 2 and thickness at heel is been kept as tapered so that the bending should not occur. Another aspect of keeping these shapes in angle or channel or I section to take care of generation of residual stresses during thermal cooling after production of or rolling of the structural steel in rolling mill. What is the residual stress? In coming slides, it will be you will understand. Then these are the built-up shapes. The built-up shapes are look to be very easy and comfortable. Okay, but it will only work when these sections are properly connected. If the sections are not properly connected by each other, then what will happen? The centroid of this, which is now here, then it will be two independent. One here, one here, one here, like this. Okay, so therefore this section will be properly latched or batten or connected in such a way that the composite or the built-up property should be generated. Otherwise, what will happen? They will act as a two individual. So this point you should take care of that. Okay. Then the behavior of the structure steel. We normally test the everybody we know that we go for tension test. Why tension test? This is the only test which is independent of dimension. In compression test, the dimensions play the role of buckling, bending. In tension test, you are stretching the material in opposite direction and the resistance is offered by the material against the deformation. So thereby you can define that stress is equal to resistance offered by the material against deformation is known as stress. Not the load upon area, force upon area. It is nothing but the resistance offered by the material against deformation. Now you can see that the graph, which is very close to the stress axis, means a large resistance is offered by the material against deformation, and that deformation is very small. It is so small that you can't see it with your normal eyes. You have to put some magnifying glass or something like this, then you can visualize that yes, that deformation took place. Then when it loses the property, the resistance lost, then the deformation increases, and that's why that point is called yield. So what is the definition of yield? Yield nothing but it is known as flowing of material. The material which is tough or hard becomes very soft at yielding. If you put your hand at the time of yielding to the sample, it is so hot that you can't hold it. And second thing, if you press it with normal equipment, it is so soft. You feel that it is so soft. So yielding nothing but flowing of material, and material becomes a softer material. Okay, then the process of accumulation of strain starts. That's why it is called as strain hardening. Strain hardening. Strain hardening is whatever you apply the force, but deformation of the member took place, then the strain hardening takes place. So this is nothing but the strain hardening, and then after strain hardening, it reaches to ultimate, and then the necking process starts, means reduction in dimension, and the failure took place at cup and cone failure. Right. Now here, sometimes you see that the yielding and ultimate is very fast. So what it indicates? It indicates that material is very tough. You will not get the good ductility. So what we want? We want the sigma u or fu, that is maximum tensile stress, divided by yield stress, should be greater than 1.2. Ideally now it is 250 and 410. So 410 divided 250, that is the ideal ratio of the ultimate stress to yield stress. But in practice, always for good ductility, you should see that the ratio of ultimate upon yield should be greater than or equal to 1.2. Then you can see that. Now, if it is greater than 1.2, you get a strain at ultimate is 0.15 and strain at failure is 0.25. Means how ductile material it is, that strain from yielding to fracture is because increasing to 0.25. Okay, so this behavior should be obtained, and we do a tension test only for the bar, which is independent of any other parameter. Whereas the compression test, yes, it is dependent. Compression test depends upon the cross section, the length of the member, and condition. Here, there is nothing is obtained. Now, this particular testing to be done in a controlled manner. Controlled manner means your type of machine, stress control or strain control. Okay, speed of testing. That speed of testing is known as strain rate. Now, what is strain rate? Velocity upon length of the member. Velocity upon at what velocity the jaws are moving upon what is the length of member. So strain rate is important. If the change of strain rate will affect this property of the material, so this is very important that at a particular strain rate it should act. Now why I am insisting more on strain rate? Now in gravity load everything is static. So if I put a load on a floor, so load flow slowly is going to act and deformation will continue. But if there is a sudden lateral force, sudden shocks, and the force is applied, lateral force is applied to the building, so there will be sudden increase in the stress. So when sudden increase in stress means sudden deformation of members would take place. So there is the length of member versus this one. So do not think out that there is a length of member of a 600 millimeter and 10 mm dia bar or 10 mm flat we are testing in the UTM machine. There is a one ISMB 400. There is a force of 400 tons acting on that ISMB, which creates a tension in that particular member, and that force at a ton comes in 30 seconds only. So what will happen? The strain will be length of member 6 meter. So 6 meter divided by that is the velocity of the force, velocity of the means of the action divided by length of member, that will change the strain rate. So that strain rate will affect the stress level in the member generated, and may happen that the failure may be of peculiar nature. Okay, so this is very important part of this one. Now this is another way to present this our curve. Okay, now this curve is idealized to two straight line. This curve is idealized to straight line, and that straight line curve is our base source while doing the design of limit state or plastic theory or EI. So what we are taking that at yielding, the line becomes straight. Yield plateau becomes straight line. And then strain hardening took place. And therefore, strain hardening modulus is 2.5% of normal modulus of elasticity. Okay, now this is the property of the material. So the chemical property, it should contain so much of it contains so much of chemical, and it should be maximum. It should not be minimum. So therefore, carbon percentage, magnesium, sulfur, phosphorus, silicon, these are all the maximum percentage you allow. Rest of part is iron. Okay, so if the carbon percentage increases, the ductility will lose, and the problem of weldability will involve. So normally what we do, we ask the sample to be tested for chemical laboratory, and we check that whether this is okay or not. Because each type of material with different chemical combination, there is a different type of welding electrodes are defined. That a common welded electrode are not applicable to all type. You have to be carefully select. There is a written on the packet compatible for which grade of steel. Because what is weld? A fusion material generated.
Khandwe sir. Khandwe sir.
लाईन गेली सरांकडची, त्याच्यामुळे सरांचा पीपीटी बंद झाला. सर पुन्हा सुरू करतायत.
हा.
So before that, sir will join. Let me add here one poll so that we will take the response from all the participants here. So dear participants, here I am just want to share something, and you have to give the answer in your chat box. So Department of Civil Engineering, Professor Ram Mehik, College of Engineering and Management, Badnera, we are always taking the efforts for making this type of programs for our faculty members and the students. So I want to just hear from you, because now onward, most of the things are now going online. This type of STDP and FDP programs are going online. And we are planning that in every semester, there should be one type of this type of STDP for the interested participants and faculty members and ME students and PhD scholars. So I want to hear from you what topic you want to cover in this type of STDPs. So you are requested to type here the topic name so that we will plan our further STDP and training program on that subject. So please type. There are many topics are there. Civil engineering is one vast field. where if we could know your area of interest in particular 1 week short-term training program. So there we will try to arrange it. Hello. How? So very nice topics were given by the participants. So again, I want to hear from everybody here in this STDP. So till then, Gupta sir will join again. So those people are not knowing any topic, so they can repeat this topic so that there will be a selection of topic on that basis, those topic liked by most of the participant. So you can just read the topic in the chat box and then type your So there was a power failure at the Gupta sir end. So now he is joining and then we will continue the session. So here just I want to highlight one of the thing is that many of the people, they are knowing that here we are interested in listening or knowing some of the new knowledge. So I request all of you that if you are interested in knowing all of these thing updates, what are going on in the industry. So I will request you, all of you, that there are three agencies are there where we should become a life member, and therefrom we will get the updates and we will come into contact with the expert speaker, and then we can take the advantage of them, and then we can listen to them or we can participate in this type of events and we take the most of the advantage. So Gupta sir is here, so I will just admit him and then I will talk about. Please continue, sir. Your PPT is visible now? Yeah. Number 12 PPT is now on the screen. I think your mic was muted, so no voice. No voice, sir. You have to make, I think, mute your audio and then again you can start, or you have to select the mic type in the mic property box. Yeah, now you can unmute and then you will, your voice will start. You are unmuted presently.
Now,
Yeah.
now.
Yes, please.
So sorry for interruption. This power has created a problem. Okay. Right. So what I'm talking about, the property. Yes, chemical property. Now coming to the physical property. Now physical property. Yeah, I have mentioned in table here. This is as per the IS 2062/2011, and with minimum tensile physical property also has to be minimum, and the chemical property also be maximum. So they be careful. The chemical maximum and physical minimum. Okay, so these are the values mentioned here. With if I take E250, the tensile strength is 410, yield stress as 250, 240, and 230. So here, as you go on higher thickness, the yield stress reduces. Okay, then percentage elongation is 23%, and this has to be a minimum property. But what I've seen mainly when we test it in laboratories or some other places also, we find that always these are more. Now here you do not compromise based on the percentage elongation, because percentage elongation is nothing but a creation for the ductility. If this is less, ductility will be less. Right? Then this is the comparison with 2062 with ASTM standard. Means if you are any steel from outside, what the equivalency they have. Then method of sampling, that you cannot test I section, channel section, T section, all other sections. You have to draw the samples by cutting the pieces from these sections with a distance mentioned 1/3 to 2/3. Is all I have taken from the 2062 source, and this to be cut as a this sample to be cut by cold cutting, not by the hot cutting. It has to be cut by the cold cutting. You should not go by the hot cutting. Because if hot cutting is there, then it will damage your sample and you will not get the correct physical property. Second thing, if you are drawing a sample from a plate, then the sample to be cut along the grain, not across the grain. Along the grain, give correct physical property. Though we are assuming isotropic material, isotropic means the value of E in X direction is equal to E in Y direction, but always we get a higher property if you cut a sample along the grain. What it means by along the grain? In the direction of rolling. A plate of 1.2 meter width of 3 meter long, it means it is rolled in 3 meter length line. So you should always cut a plate in 3 meter direction. Right? Then this is the method of preparation of sample, and this to be tested in lab as this is as per IS 1608. 1608 is code for testing of the samples. Then this is what the behavior of this true curve and the engineering curve. Then effect of temperature on stress strain curve varies considerably at very high and very low temperature, and the value of sigma y, sigma u and E drops. and maximum elongation at failure monotonically increases. Yes, if you see that coefficient of linear expansion is very high in case of steel, and because of its good ductility property, the elongation increases. Therefore, when it increases, it decreases. So I can predict from the result, if the percentage elongation increases, the stress level will be low. If the stress level will be high, the percentage level will be low. Now, what is the requirement of here? Temperature. Because in 24 hours of time, 24/7, 365 days, there is no prediction that the streamer will occur at what time, at what temperature, and what place. Therefore, I had taken the case of effect of temperature at high also and very low temperature. And we are very much problem in the low temperature, because you find that in all valleys, you always find there is a tremor. Okay, so there is the effect of temperature. So these things, a allied requirement for the basic analysis of structure, you should know it. That is why I am covering these all parts. Now, effect of temperature on ductility. Do not have adverse effect on yield strength below the room temperature. Low temperature has substantial effect on ductility. Behavior changes from ductile to brittle, and ductile to brittle transition temperature. The above behavior is to be checked by Charpy Notch test. We taught in second year strength of material, Charpy Notch. So Charpy Notch will help you to understand the ductility of the sample with the effect of temperature. So what you can do, you can take a sample with different temperature, and if at room temperature you test it, you know the transition stage of ductility with the way of Charpy Notch test. Then effect of strain rate. I told you strain rate. The effect of tensile strength, the tensile strength increases at higher strain rate. Crucial for a blast resistant design and little significance in the earthquake resistant design. Okay. Probable yield strength, margin between the actual average yield strength and specified yield strength, increases over the year for some structure steel, even though the steel specification itself remains unchanged. So effect of strain rate. Strain rate means loading, unloading. See one thing, let us say there are a lot of shakes are coming, structure is shake in a year, that is 10 times. So therefore, even the material remains same, but there is a change occurs because of change of strain rate, because loading action is not all time same. It is varying from time to time. Then strain aging. Strain aging. Now you can see in this lockdown period, all players, especially now IPL is going on, so we can see that because of the cricket players, they were very much worried about their practices. Okay, they want to do practice, and they are not allowed to go in ground or somewhere, so they do practice in their colonies or at home. Why? That is nothing but strain aging. If they don't do practice, there will be loss of strength. So same structure also has the same problem. Our human body also has the same problem, strain aging. We said that aging effect. Aging effect. Now I am 60 plus, so I have aging effect. No, I don't have, because I do everything, all type of work and all type of exercises. If I don't do, then I will have the aging effect. So when steel is unloaded after being loaded to a strain hardening range and left unstressed for a certain time, its molecular structure changes. And upon reloading, yield and tensile strength increases, ductility and fracture toughness decreases. Material dislocations are defect in crystal structures due to which slip lanes are developed. Strain aging occurs because nitrogen and carbon atoms migrate to these dislocations. Means it directly implies to the proper assessment of response reduction factor, proper response of AH acceleration, and AH multiplied by W is equal to force. It should not happen that your structure is taken a very high, larger size, and part of the being used and part is unused. So this aging effect will going to come. Then effect of corrosion. The stress corrosion, that is more important. Stress corrosion transform ductile steel into brittle material without substantial visible evidence. Stress corrosion cracking can develop unexpectedly. Material under tensile strain is exposed to specific chemical acceleration at higher temperature, and the corrosion fatigue occurs. Develop in uniform corroded material, cracks are visible, reduces fatigue life of steel. So stress corrosion to be studied because buildings are old, of life more than 25 years. Possibly there is a possibility of corrosion develops because of the weathering action. So that effect has to be seen. Then ductility of a corroded steel increases stress level for a given load. Longer stress range under fatigue type of cyclic loading. Monotonic structural ductility of steel is not detrimentally affected by the corrosion. Then we have our methods of design. Now, when I started my career, I was using 64 code, 1964 code. And probably I used also in my PhD program the 64 code, because when I was submitting, 84 code comes in existence in market. That time it was not that today we have whatever code we make, we circulate draft code for review and comments, and then we go on working. The 84 code was available in me around 88, 89. I understand that 84 code has come. Okay, so therefore that time I using old code, and the methods were only one method available. That is the working stress design method. A very good method, useful method. In some other country code, they write down as ASD, allowable stress design method. So what is this? Stress caused by the characteristic load must be less than an allowable stress, which is a fraction of yield stress. So B doesn't allow a stress up to yielding. It doesn't allow load up to failure, that is including load factor. So we are taking characteristic load and allowable stress. That's what is called as allowable stress. And allowable stress equal to yield stress upon factor of safety. So we work on factor of safety. So what are limitations? We doesn't work on non-linearity. Non-linear behavior in the post-buckle state and property of steel stress to tolerate higher stress and by yielding locally and distribution of loads not accounted. No allowance for reduction of load in statically indeterminate members. So these are limitations. We are only in linear zone, so that's why everything is linear. So what I'll tell you, we are working in a domain from 0 to yield point. Means we are only interested in yielding failure. That is all, nothing more than that. Then we have been switching over to limit state design. So what we want the objective of design to achieve an acceptable probability that structure will perform certain objective of design is the achievement of an acceptable probability that the structures will perform satisfactorily for the intended purpose during the design life. So we are working on probability. When you are working on probability, means you have to think over it for entire life. What are different types of failures can occur? What are different types of load can be occur? Okay, so that is what the acceptable probability we have to understand with an appropriate degree of safety. They should sustain all the loads and deformation during construction, use and have adequate resistance to certain expected accidental life and fire. With the appropriate degree of safety, they should sustain all the loads and deformation during construction and use and have adequate resistance to certain expected accidental load and fire. Structure should be stable and have alternate load paths to prevent disproportionate overall collapse under extrinsic load. So now from ASD or working stress or elastic method, we are working out all the probability and all the load path for proper functioning of the structures throughout the life. Okay, that was our design objective. This is the design objective of IS 800-2007. And the method which is used is the limit state design. Now, one note has been mentioned here in our 2007. When the limit state design cannot be currently used, working stress can be used. Okay, so they have mentioned in the last part of the code the process of working state design also. If anybody is in want to that I cannot able to solve a structure is so complex that I want to solve with the working stress, he can solve with the working stress. Right, now this design process, structural design including design for durability, construction and use should be considered as a whole. The realization of the design objective requires compliances with clearly defined standard for material fabrication, erection and in-service maintenance. Now, why these all clauses are added? Here also the objective, here also the method. Lot of limitations are made or applicable in 84 code working stress design. Dimension wise, stress wise, load application wise. Now here total flexibility has been given in dimension. So when flexibility is given in dimension, the durability also increases. Durability has to be checked. So durability for checking that condition also been included in our code. Now loads and stresses. Here I will speak only that we should follow IS 875 part 1, part 2, 875 part 1 for dead load, part 2 for imposed load and part 3 2015. Part 1, part 2 are 1987. Part 3 is now revised in 2015 for wind load. Part 4 for snow load and part 5 for special load along with 1893 all parts as and when needed along with code for other special loads as per the respective loading. Because there are certain industry where you need crane load. So crane load you have to go for 807. Blast load 4991. Okay, so these special for loads, these special codes to be referred, but for all general purpose, the load combination has to be, loads will be taken from 875, their part 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then secondary effect has to be considered. Now you want to consider secondary effect. How will work out? Allowable effects in during construction is and settlements has been mentioned in National Building Code 2016. If your settlement or level difference between the junctions of the beam column, if there is a change in above permissible limits, then you have to calculate the additional movement because of this settlement or the differential levels, then they are called as secondary effects. So to be referred NBC 2016 for calculation of secondary effects. Now, along with this, a code for erection and fabrication, where during erection and fabrication there will be a generation of secondary effect in assembling or erection of steel members. So that also to be considered. And my friends all, EIDs earthquake resistance or earthquake forces is over and above this all. It doesn't mean that I have my building is capable of resisting the earthquake force. This problem is over. No. Because your problem every day is of dead load, imposed load, wind load, erection loads, extension loads are the secondary effect. Then earthquake forces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you have to go on adding along with earthquake forces. These are discussed already. Then the load combination. Now load combination was is a different story. Load combination as per 875 part 5 different are simple without load because that 875 part 87 is with working stress conditions, so no load factor, no combinations are mentioned. If you go with 800 2007 combinations are different, 1893 different, bridge code rare combination, so many new combinations added, so combinations are still in confusion stage. But as far as steel design concerned, I will follow 800 2007 along with 1890 as far as the earthquake force concerned. Okay, now the backbone of limit state, backbone of earthquake design is the plastic analysis. At many places, still plastic analysis has been taught. I am very happy if the places where the plastic analysis is taught, the engineers, they will definitely be very easy to understand the listed approach as well as the ERD approach. So if not over and above syllabus, please teach the student the plastic analysis in brief about their general behavior. So plastic analysis, these are all assumptions, very simple assumptions. Plane section remain plane, not in with the stress. It is linear of strain diagram, because stress diagram becomes a rectangular block. So there is a variation of strain diagram. Then material homogeneous isotropic section is divided into equal parts. Means at L stage, the L stage, the independent structures converted to determinate structures. Total area and tension side is equal to total area and compression side, and that's why section divided into equal parts. Each layer free to expand. There is the effect of axial force in the member because there is no scope available to adjust the scope force, because axial plus bending, only bending can occur. The axial has not to be adjusted. So what is the ratio? That P upon Py. P is the actual axial force. Py is the yield axial force. Should be less than 0.15. Then effect of axial force should be neglected. This is based on the SP6, Special Publication 6 of BIS, where the total chapter on plastic analysis has been given. The stress strain curve is ordinary two-state line, and then remaining all four simple assumptions for the theory. These are the basic assumptions which I just discussed. Then the coming to the behavior. Now in plastic behavior,
Vikas.amt.
somebody, some question, please. Anybody?
No, sir. Please continue.
Okay. Now, let us take one beam is subjected to system of load, and the movement increases as the service load increases. So if I see in elastic stage, the strain is below L strain, stress is also below L strain, and both the diagrams are linear. Stress strain diagrams are linear in elastic range, and movement becomes the M. Then what is the relationship? Our M by flexor formula relationship, Bernoulli equation, M by I is equal to E over R is equal to sigma over Y, that all exist. That M is equal to sigma into Z, or M is equal to F into Z. And 1 by R is equal to E over R. That 1 by R also, M is equal to M over EI is equal to 1 by R. That also exists. So M over EI is equal to 1 by R is the curvature relationship, or the serviceability relationship, or the deflection relationship. And M is equal to F into Z is the strength relationship. So there are two parts, strength part and serviceability part. That this is the only one equation which combines both. So therefore, everything is linear. means movement is also proportional to radius of curvature and inversely proportional to radius of curvature, and also the movement is directly proportional to this stress into section modulus. Now, if I increase the stress, okay, such that the sigma becomes, epsilon becomes sigma y, epsilon becomes epsilon y, means the stress becomes yield strain, stress becomes yield stress, and that will be on top fibers or bottom fibers. So my movement becomes Fy. My movement becomes My, and this My will be equal to Ze into Fy. Then all the fibers below this, means top fiber and bottom fiber, they are in yield stress, and all other fibers are in elastic range. Now, when again I increase, it will reach first in flanges, and then wave is in that case, wave is in elastic stage, and the flanges are in yield stage, means they reach to plastic stage. So total movement capacity will be equal to movement due to plastic capacity of the flange plus movement due to elastic capacity of the web. So that is calculated. Now here, since this is a mixed diagram, so therefore the relationship of curvature changes. You can see here the relationship of curvature changes, and that line doesn't become straight line. That line now taken a curve. Okay, then it propagates inside the part of it. So these two stages, part A and B, they are called as elastoplastic stage. That it is neither fully elastic nor fully plastic. Okay, then it goes to full plastic, means entire section becomes plastic. So that movement becomes now My becomes MP is equal to Fy into Zp, and Zp is called as plastic modulus. Okay, so plastic modulus is a enhanced property of geometrical property of a cross section which improves the strength of the member. Right, so MP is equal to sigma y Fy into Zp, and this is the diagram becomes rectangle diagram, and the total tension is equal to total compression, and the strain is higher than yield strain. Higher than yield strain, and the strain diagram is a linear diagram. It's not a rectangle, it is a linear diagram. Right, so that's why the movement is calculated for the entire cross section. Movement due to plastic in flange plus movement due to plastic in web, and total tension of total compression equal to lever arm, and the movement is calculated, and this is what the propagation of the generation of the movement at and along with the generation of plastic hinge. Now what happens to this relationship, curvature relationship? Now here this curvature relationship becomes infinite because d by 2 becomes 0. D by 2 becomes 0. Okay, so therefore this becomes infinite. So therefore I can define now the hinge at which the infinite rotation can take place and the member goes in plastic stage. That is called the plastic hinge. So plastic hinge formation addition. Plastic hinge forms where the plastic movement forms. Plastic movement forms where it forms when there is a maximum bending moment occurs. Okay, so this is what the stage-wise formation of plastic hinge. And the rotation of structures in this format and the complete collapse of this is complete collapse of index. You can see that complete collapse of index. So this is the movement curvature ratio of a parallel flange. You can see that the movement becomes uniform up to a particular value, and then when it goes in elastoplastic stage, it becomes infinite. This is the non-dimensional parallel flange beam movement curvature relationship. And this two relationship is become the basis of this classification. Basis of classification of the cross section. So based on the plastic behavior of the cross section, these sections are classified as plastic, compact, semi-compact, and cylinder. This classification is useful in classifying the ductility of the member. So therefore, when you understand ductility of the member, you should know classification. When you want to understand classification, you should know plastic theory, and then you should know the movement curvature relationship. What we do, we directly talk on the ductility. We don't know what is the background, what is the source. So source I told you, ductility, cross-section ductility, member classification. Member classification means movement curvature relationship. Movement curvature relationship means plastic analysis of the beam. So once you doesn't know plastic analysis, you cannot understand the member or member ductility as well as the section ductility, cross-section ductility. So this, when the section have high rotation capacity. Now, high rotation capacity means if I able to do 100 push-up, when I can put 100 push-up, I have good diet, good proteins in my body, have good energy. Then I can go for 100 push-up. So similarly here, when section becomes plastic, only when it has a good relationship or good cross-section, which can take a high rotation, high deformation, means you can get this very good curve. It's a high plastic rotation capacity. Then it is class as plastic. Then if it's less than semi-compact, compact, then less semi-compact. So plastic and semi-compact is the range from working stress to plastic stage. So this is plastic analysis. This is working stress analysis, and the section in between these two are called as compact section. A section with just yield, buckle, they are called cylinder section. So plastic section, rotation theta 2 greater should be 6 times theta 1. For compact section, rotation should be less than theta 1 and should be less than 6 times theta 1. Okay, right? So this is what the classification of the cross section. So these are the definitions. Plastic section, compact section definitions. Then the small definitions of if I just read this definition, a cross section which can develop plastic hinge and have rotation capacity required for failure structure for formation of plastic mechanism, that is called plastic section, and the width to thickness ratio of plates elements shall be less than specified in the table mentioned for the plastic. A moment when it applied, the whole section goes into plastic stage, then it can be defined as a moment resisting capacity of the full yielding of the cross section is known as plastic stage, and a new property generated, shape factor, with the ratio of full plastic movement versus yield movement. Normally it is Zp upon Zy or Ze, Zp upon Ze, that is plastic modulus divided by section modulus, that is called as shape factor. And the collapse load, a load at which infinite definite deformation connecting structure into principal form, satisfying the equilibrium condition, is called as collapse load, or a constant load at which infinite rotation can take place is also known as collapse load. And the load factor, it is ratio of collapse load versus working load. Now this load factor, as per the plastic theory of section 9 of 84 code, now as per the 2007 code, it is defined as partial safety factor. The things remain same, it is not different. For definition of partial safety factor is collapse load upon working load, and load factor is also collapse load upon working load. This is the movement curvature relationship for and fracture shape factor for different types of cross section. Okay, where the hinges are formed. Now why this is needed? Push-over analysis. In push-over analysis, you should be able to predict where hinge is going to form. A zone after yielding due to fracture in the structural member at which the infinite rotation can take place at constant plastic movement. So it forms at point of tensile movement at the end of each member or change of geometry. So this is the source required for you, basic required for your push-over analysis. Now this is the way hinge is formed. You can relate this photo and the diagram which I drawn here, I shown here. Yes, you can relate this now. Yes, you can relate it. Now, in assumption, I have made that there is a no axial force are acting. So that analysis of beam subjected to load, that is plastic bending of beam, is there. There is no effect of axial force. There is the effect of axial force. You can see, because there is no scope available to adjust the bending stress and the direct stress. So there is effect. So what we do, we reduce the plastic movement capacity of the member. Okay. So in general, Mn is the net movement and MP is the when movement is plastic movement, no axial force acting, is 1 minus N upon Np. If this ratio is 0.15, then this effect is almost Mn upon Mn is equal to Mp. Similarly, there is the effect of axial force, of shear force on plastic movement. That's why in code, we have to calculate the shear capacity. If the wave is not capable of taking the shear, as that is Vd is equal to Av into Fy upon root 3 into gamma m naught, then we have to calculate the revised value of Vd and the revised value of plastic movement. It is as per the 2007 code of 800. So this is the effect of the shear force on plastic movement. Then simple definitions of redundancy, how to calculate redundancy, what are the relay supports, what how to calculate all these things, this about the redundancy. Then important thing is mechanism. Because these mechanisms are again applicable in EID. When there is a structure, there is a collapse occurs always in mechanisms. So there is a beam mechanism, sway mechanism, and combined mechanism. These are three, and there is one more mechanism which is called as joint mechanism. Then methods of different analysis. There are so many methods of plastic analysis. Few I have mentioned here. Right. This is what this step by step, in which at every step you can calculate the load required for formation of each. That is the step by step. Then the second method which I just discussing here, the load interaction. You can interact between the gravity load versus lateral force. Okay, and we can predict under which mode the hinge going to form. So therefore, strong column, weak beam theory is been generated based on the load interaction method. You can see the permissible zone in which the the interaction can be generated between the gravity load as versus lateral load. Then the basis of pushover analysis. How much time we have? Okay. It is nothing but this step. That's why I told you do both the methods. Background for the pushover. It is a step-by-step method of plastic analysis. A constant relative magnitude of lateral flow load is applied. Increase until displacement is reached. Okay, the gravity load is kept constant. W is kept constant. H is increased. Structure is pushed sideways to determine ultimate lateral load resistance and sequence of event, that is plastic hinge formation. So whatever in bullets is shown here, I told you in the background. You must read the background, then you will be able to do the push analysis. People, this what do they take a SAP software, SAP, and what I'm doing push analysis SAP. Or what is the background? Not know. So read the backgrounds. What is the function of pushover? What is the basis of pushover? What is the basic of pushover? So pushover analysis is highly dependent on lateral load distribution adopted. Consider multiple lateral load distribution pattern. Okay. So here also you should know targeted places where hinge can form. There also one step is required here. Then there are monotonic pushover analysis, cyclic pushover analysis. Now, related conditions, whether it's a gravity load, whether it's a lateral load as a wind or blast or accident, all these things. These are the maximum cylinder ratios are allowed for the members. So the members cylinder ratio is 180 for member carrying dead load plus imposed load. Okay, then for bracings, for other things. Now, very important two point here. Point number 4: compression flange of beam against lateral dorsal buckling. 300. It is not related to length of the member. It is related to length of compression flange versus minimum radiation duration of cross section. Means you have to support beam laterally. Which beams? Especially which are prone to lateral buckling. Means normally I sections in which moment of inertia on biplane is very weak. If the moment of inertia on biplane is very strong, then this clause may not be applicable. So for the ratio of Ixx upon Iy of the greater magnitudes, the compression flange shall be supported by the cross beam so that lateral buckling should not occur in that beam. Then length of a tension member is also mentioned. Your length member having tension is 400. So you can decide length of member is equal to 400 times R minimum of the cross section of that member. You can have that much length of the tension member. Then expansion joints. You should provide expansion joints. If you don't provide, then what you can do, you can add, do temperature analysis. Then limit state design. Now I'll read here only the objective. Structure shall be designed to stand safely all loads likely to act throughout the life. So we are talking of the throughout the life. To achieve the structure that will remain fit for using during the life, but the acceptable target reliability, that is probability of limit state being reached during the lifetime, should be very low. The acceptable limit for safety and serviceability requirement before failure occurs is called as limit state. Means if I do analysis, I am able to know the collapse load and the moment coverage relationship, then I can target a good structures which will with the acceptable limits. The structure shall be designed on the basis of most critical limit state and shall be checked for the other limit states. The structures still are to be designed and constructed to satisfy the design requirement with regards to stability, strength, rigidity, brittle fracture, fatigue, fire, and durability. I'll tell you one thing: strength and stability is also inbuilt. It is also inbuilt. Okay, so there are two limits that you consider: the limit state of strength and limit state of serviceability. And in strength should be always greater than the action. The actions are calculated as three types: permanent action, variable action, and accidental action. Permanent, nothing normally the gravity loads, fixed load. Variable means that is imposed load, crane load, etc. There is wind, earthquake, they are variable. And accident is nothing but explosion and all these things. For this action, the various characteristics load, based on characteristics load, the load factor has been calculated, and these load factors are included and are multiplied to the design actions, and they have been designed to action because of to take care of the possibility of unfavorable deviation of load from the characteristic value, probability of inaccurate assessment of the load, uncertainty of the assessment of the effect of load. Okay, so these load factors are multiplied to get the action, permanent, the total action on the design action on the structures. For serviceability, it is always in working stress condition. Maybe any method for serviceability always in working stress condition. Okay, and for strength, the partial safety factor of material being considered, which took care of the deviation of material property, unfavorable material member sizes, possibility of reaction member strength due to fabrication tolerances, uncertainty of calculation of strength of the member. So therefore, this factor of material also within that means the maximum stress being reduced by a certain level so that the safety is occur. So that these are the safety factor for material. Okay. Now there are geometrical imperfections. There are geometrical imperfections, that is verticality, straightness, flatness, fit, lack of fit, and tolerances. These imperfections are maybe of global format, maybe of local format. Okay. And there is another problem of initial out-of state. The member doesn't have perfect state. So what we say that 1 in 1000 is the parameter. If 1 in 1000 the out of state is occur, then we can say that there is no effect of straightness of the member. Then the effect of residual stress. How residual stress occur? It occurs during the cooling of the member. So what happens now? The joint 1, 2, 3, 4, they cool first, and joint 5, 6, 7, 8, they cool late. So there is a differential cooling, and because of differential cooling, member should not distort. That's why the sizes are mentioned like this, and the residual stress develops in the form of tension and compression. And these residual stresses are useful at the time of the extra requirement. They are surplus balance available with us. Okay, so these are residual strengths. This is a method how to test it. This is one method of testing. There is a destructive method. We can measure the residual stress. One of the PhD scholar, Jyoti Balawe, she did this testing during her PhD program. And this is measure the values. Okay, then deflections. That is the serviceability check. You should do serviceability check. And these are the deflection limits are mentioned. These are the various limits of deflection. So then vibration also included in this code, and derivative also increases in this. So far, whatever I taught is the general design requirement, means the background story I have generated for the ERD design, or to understand the concept of the ERD. Then 800/2007 has given a full liberty to use all methods, elastic, plastic, advanced, as well as dynamic method. All methods is given liberty to use. Okay, so this is a part of total analysis, right? Then different forms of construction. Rigid construction with this moment resting frame, semi-rigid, release at support, some rotations are allowed. Simple means simple beam column methods, right? And the code also says that you should also analyze the structure for notional horizontal load, which is equal to 0.5% of factor dead load plus vertical imposed load applied at depth level. It should not be clubbed with the other lateral load like of wind and earthquake. It is independent one. Right? So this is what in brief I have shown you the background story, and these are the standards and books I used for making this presentation. Right? Thank you very much. I think so. It is 12:30 because after half an hour you have to come for the another lecture. So I squeezed the total presentation. Now coming to the questions. Questions.
Thank you, sir. So some participant can ask the question in the chat box, and then sir will answer it. What is notion horizontal force?
Notional horizontal force. That is I just now I told you.
Yeah.
Just now this is notional horizontal force. It is a notional. You have to calculate to account for the perfection. That is you have to calculate 0.5% of factor dead load plus vertical imposed load. You have to calculate.
What about pushover analysis and monotonic cyclic pushover?
Oh, that is another detailed story. We have to take one more class.
Yes, in next session we will look after that.
No, I will not cover that part because there is another analysis process. You have to go for the book on book. I'll tell you the book.
Which type of bracing is better for seismic analysis?
Tomorrow, so Friday okay. discussion.
Yeah. So I think today now we will stop here, and then in next session again.
Next session is totally devoted to now the application of this all background for the our EID. Now I can directly start with the application part. The reason being, I know that many of you may not have gone through the details of the steel design.
Yes, sir.
So that's why I had just creating the background story, background preparation for your understanding the next part of this.
Yes, sir.
And request to all those who are teachers and they have opportunity to teach steel design, please teach students the material and detail property and to the total behavior, because in field they don't know how to test it, where to test it, and how to cut a sample, what are the requirement of testing, why we do testing, because major population our civil engineers, they will go in construction industry.
Yeah.
We are not nobody all we are not whatever engineers we are producing, they are not going to become a teacher or they are become a designer. Major people are going for execution of job, and I think so the people who are going for execution, they are the key person for us.
Yeah.
So let us take care of that people, because they should know these things. If they can know these things, definitely they will perform better in their field.
Yes, sir.
Huh? So that is for all the request to my all. So Friday, again confirming that is 12 to 1 then.
Yes, sir.
Huh? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'll close it.
So thank you, sir. And for I also thanks to all the participants for being with us and patience listening. So for this session now we will stop here because it was a lunch break also, and then the next session will begin at again 1 p.m. So thanks to all again.
Within half an hour they have to come back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No problem, because that it happens on some lecture we have to.
No. Even though 30-40% I cut it. 40% more
Yes,
than 40%
sir, yes.
I cut it.
Yeah.
I'm not going in details, because if I go for details, then I will take whole day from morning to evening.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And then I will stop here. This session will be ended, and then before 10 minutes before 1 p.m. I will start the session, and then at 1 we will listen to the next speaker. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.